You know that moment, right? When a package finally lands on your doorstep from halfway across the world and you just pause for a second.
Yeah, thinking about the journey it took. It's pretty amazing.
Exactly. So today, let's really dive into that. We're looking at the journey of a container ship based on some really interesting material you shared with us.
Focusing on one specific ship, the MCC ANDALAS.
Right. The idea is to kind of peel back the layers on how all this global shipping actually works, how your stuff gets to you.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Taking something so normal, like getting a delivery and tracing it all the way back, focusing on just one ship, like the ANDALAS, really helps see the scale of it all.
Totally. So, okay, the MCC ANDALAS, what do we know about her?
Well, she was built in 2008 in China, but she's registered in Indonesia.
2008, so not brand new, but definitely a workhorse.
Yeah.
And size-wise.
Oh, she's big. 148 meters long.
Wow, okay. Hard to picture. What's that like?
Think about 1.5 football fields end to end. That's roughly the size we're talking about.
Okay, definitely not fitting in my driveway. And she carries containers, obviously.
Thousands of tons worth.
Yeah.
Everything from, electronics parts to maybe rolls of fabric, clothing.
All packed in together. It really shows how connected everything is, doesn't it?
Absolutely. All those different supply chains crossing paths on one single vessel.
And the info we have said she just left, or is leaving, Cat Lai Port.
Yeah, Cat Lai in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. Heading for Papua New Guinea this trip.
Cat Lai must be a huge deal then in that region.
Oh, definitely. Ports like Cat Lai are critical nodes, especially in Southeast Asia. They're handling millions of containers every single year. Massive transit points.
Right. So let's picture it. It's about 5:07 p.m. local time, May 20th, 2025. The MCC ANDALAS is getting ready to go. First step, anchor up.
Yep. And you see this huge gush of water as the anchor comes up.
What's dramatic? Is it just water?
Well, yes, but it's functional. They're basically power washing the anchor and the chain as it comes up.
To get the mud off.
Exactly. Mud, maybe some seaweed, other marine gunk. You don't want to carry that stuff to the next port, potentially introducing invasive species or just, debris.
Makes sense. Okay, so the anchor's up, the sheep starts moving, and there are those markings on the side, on the hull, stripes and numbers.
Yeah, those aren't just paint. That's the draft markings.
Draft, meaning how deep it sits in the water.
Precisely. It tells you how much of the hull is submerged. For the ANDALAS right now, the draft is around 7 meters.
Okay. And what does that tell us? Is that a lot?
It tells us she's carrying cargo, definitely. But she's not fully loaded to her absolute maximum.
What is the
The
maximum?
full capacity draft is about 9.6 meters. So 7 meters means she's got a good load, but there's still some room. It's like a visual fuel gauge, but for cargo weight.
Huh. Clever. And then there's that funny bulge at the front, right at the waterline, the bulbous bow.
Ah, yes. It looks a bit odd, doesn't it?
It does. What's it for?
It's actually a really smart piece of engineering. It's all about efficiency. It manipulates the water flow around the hull. Basically, it creates its own wave that partially cancels out the main wave the ship's bow makes naturally. This reduces resistance or drag.
It cuts through the water easier.
Exactly. Less drag means less fuel needed to maintain speed. Over thousands of miles, that adds up to significant fuel savings and cost savings.
Right, which matters for the price of everything on board. Okay, but things aren't always smooth sailing, even in port. The material mentioned a pretty tense moment.
Yeah, a close call. A much smaller ferry got way too close to the ANDALAS.
How close is too close when you're talking about a ship that size?
Dangerously close. See, a huge ship like the ANDALAS, even moving slowly, creates powerful currents, and the propeller wash is strong.
Okay.
And then there's this thing called the suction effect or bank effect near channels. The displaced water creates low-pressure zones near the hull that can actually pull smaller boats towards the big ship.
Whoa, seriously, it sucks them in.
In a manner of speaking, yeah, it's a real hydrodynamic hazard. Very dangerous for small craft.
And this ferry had people on board. And cars.
Yes, passengers and vehicles. If it got caught in the wake or the suction, it could easily capsize.
That's terrifying. And apparently some people on the ferry weren't even wearing life jackets.
Yeah, that was noted. It just highlights the risks. In busy ports, there are supposed to be clear protocols.
Like what? Keep your distance.
Exactly. Smaller boats need to stay well clear of large vessels maneuvering. And communication is key, usually via VHF radio so everyone knows who's doing what. But, well, sometimes things go wrong.
Clearly. Okay, shifting focus a bit. As the ANDALAS pulls away, something else is noticeable: black smoke coming from the funnel.
Ah, yes. That's not ideal.
What does that tell us, technically?
That black smoke is basically soot. It indicates incomplete combustion in the ship's main diesel engine. The fuel, which is usually a heavy residual fuel oil, isn't burning cleanly or efficiently.
So pollution.
Yes. It's releasing unburnt carbon particles, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, pollutants.
And Cat Lai Port is right near Ho Chi Minh City, right? A massive city.
Over 9 million people. So yeah, ship emissions in ports near big cities are a major air quality concern for the people living there. It has real health impacts.
I guess it's easy to forget about that part of shipping. Is the industry doing anything about it?
Oh, absolutely. There's huge global pressure. The International Maritime Organization, the IMO, brought in much stricter rules in 2020,
What kind of rules?
mainly limiting the sulfur content in marine fuels. Ships now have to use much cleaner, low-sulfur fuel or install systems to clean the exhaust.
Like scrubbers.
Exactly, exhaust gas cleaning system or scrubbers. But for an older ship like the MCC ANDALAS, built back in 2008,
It might be harder to meet those new standards.
it can be more challenging, yeah. Retrofitting scrubbers is expensive, and sometimes the older engine designs aren't as efficient, even with cleaner fuel. Better maintenance helps, of course.
So it's a complex issue. Fuel, maintenance, technology upgrades.
It really is. A mix of solutions is needed. Cleaner fuels are key, maybe even looking towards alternatives like ammonia or methanol down the line. But that's a whole other transition.
Okay, so we have this massive ship, complex machinery, environmental concerns. But what about the people running it? The crew?
Right, we can't forget them. On a ship this size, you typically have a crew of, say, around 20 people.
20 people running that huge thing.
Yep, seafarers. And departure, like we're seeing here, is an incredibly busy time for them.
I bet. What are they all doing?
Everything at once, it feels like. Managing the engines, navigating tricky port waters, constantly talking to port control on the radio, keeping a sharp lookout for other vessels.
Like that ferry.
Exactly. Bridge team, engine room crew, deck hands. Everyone has a critical role working around the clock.
Around the clock. It makes you think about life at sea. It must be tough.
It has its challenges, for sure. They're away from home for weeks, often months at a time.
Wow, months.
Yeah, working shifts, dealing with potentially rough weather out on the open ocean, and just the constant job of maintaining the ship, especially an older one like the ANDALAS. It requires real dedication.
So when we see the MCC ANDALAS heading out, it's more than just a ship leaving port.
Oh, much more. It's really a symbol of this enormous global network that we all rely on.
Connecting countries, moving goods.
Exactly. It's the backbone of the global economy, often invisible. That phone in your pocket, the clothes you're wearing, the coffee you drank this morning, chances are good parts of it, or all of it, traveled on a ship, just like the MCC ANDALAS.
It really puts it in perspective.
Yeah.
So as the ANDALAS sails from Cat Lai towards Papua New Guinea, it's on quite a journey.
An incredible journey, repeated by thousands of ships every single day across the globe. Driven by our demands, powered by technology, navigated by skilled crews.
So maybe next time that overseas package arrives, take that extra second. Think about the ship, the port, the crew.
Yeah, consider that whole hidden world of logistics and infrastructure that makes it possible. It really does shape our daily lives in ways we barely notice.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're looking at this incredible scene. A huge container ship, like longer than 2 football fields, squeezing through a river that looks barely wide enough.
Yeah, it's the CNC PMA, 183 meters long, navigating a very narrow Vietnamese waterway.
And there's this immediate tension, right? You see the pictures, the video excerpts, and you just think, wow.
Exactly, the scale versus the space. This isn't the open ocean. It's a really constricted river. A tiny mistake could be, significant.
So our goal today is really to understand that delicate balance, the power involved, but also the incredible precision needed.
Precisely. And the CNC PMA itself is pretty interesting. Built just recently, 2023, in Japan.
Multi-flag, right, and the size is just staggering. Over 31,000 gross tons.
And fully loaded, it's nearly 39,000 deadweight tons. That's, a lot of cargo. It gives you a real sense of the mass we're dealing with.
Operated by CNC Line, part of CMA CGM, a big name. It runs key routes in Southeast Asia, so it's constantly moving.
Which really brings us to the power aspect. Especially in a tight spot like the Long Tao River, our sources talk about the bow wave, this kinetic force in motion. What does that actually mean for, say, a small local boat?
Yeah, what's the impact?
Well, think about it. That huge hull pushes so much water aside, creating this surge. For smaller vessels, local ferries, Little wooden fishing boats that wave can knock them around, make them unstable.
Even capsize them.
Potentially, yeah. It's a stark reminder of just how much energy is involved when something that big moves through such a confined space.
Picture that for a second. You're in your small boat, maybe fishing, and suddenly this wall of water is heading your way. It really makes you appreciate the skill of the pilots.
Absolutely. And it's not just about steering. Think about how they control the speed, the momentum. Our sources mention the anchors.
Right, huge things, tons each. Stockless design, compact, strong. But they're not just for parking the ship, are they?
No, not at all. The source mentions seeing the anchor dripping, which hints at something called drag anchoring.
Drag anchoring? So they're not fully dropping it.
Exactly. It's like letting the anchor just lightly kiss the seabed. It acts as a sort of subtle brake, helps fine-tune the speed, maybe even helps pivot around tight bends.
Interesting. Kind of like using a handbrake very gently.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's delicate. As the source hints, you drag too hard or too close to the bank, you could damage the riverbed, or worse, throw the ship off balance. It takes real judgment.
Again, imagine seeing that from water level. This giant, carefully maneuvering, maybe using its anchor in this subtle way. It really hammers home why everyone on the water needs to be so aware.
Totally. And these aren't old rust buckets, right? They're packed with tech.
Yeah.
Modern navigation, AIS systems to see other ships, efficient engines.
What kind of speed are we talking?
Cruising speed is around 18 knots, so Ho Chi Minh City to Bangkok. Just over a day. Pretty quick.
Still, even with all that tech, it's not just the captain up there alone, is it? The sources mention a lot of collaboration.
Oh, definitely. You've got local pilots who know the river like the back of their hand. You have tugboats ready to nudge and pull if needed. And then there's VTS vessel traffic systems, kind of like air traffic control for ships.
So it's a whole team effort.
It absolutely is. Multiple layers of expertise, all working together to guide this huge vessel.
But even with all that backup, you still feel that the margin for error in these tight spots is, well, tiny. One slip.
And the consequences could be massive, which really connects to the bigger picture, you know? Ships like the CNC PUMA, they're like the arteries of global trade. They carry the stuff we use every single day.
Moving all that requires immense power, but also immense responsibility.
Exactly. And navigating these intricate waterways safely is, frankly, a testament to skill and engineering.
The source material leaves us with a really simple, powerful rule. Always respect the water.
And that applies to everyone, right? From the captain on the bridge of a giant like the PUMA down to someone in a small river ferry. It's universal.
So wrapping it up, moving these colossal ships through seemingly tiny spaces isn't just about muscle. It's this intricate dance of power, technology, human skill, and deep respect for the environment they're moving through.
It's a constant high-stakes balancing act.
Which leaves me thinking, given how much stuff moves around the globe constantly, on ships like this, navigating challenges we probably don't even see, what are all those unseen complexities, those constant calculations happening behind the scenes that keep our whole supply chain flowing? Something to ponder.